topic of the conversation for today is this new Zeiss binocular called the SFL50. In Zeiss parlance, the highest end binoculars are Victor FL. That's their really no compromise model. And just below them is the SFL. And the emphasis with the SFL is very high performance at a very lightweight and compact size. These use Schmidt-Pechan prisms. I think the Victors use Epconic prisms. And the SFLs are made in Japan. My best guess is that Zeiss was heavily involved in the design because when I look at these, I'm guessing, unconfirmed, that it's OEM by Kamakura in Japan, easily one of the better binocular manufacturers in the world. And the reason I'm making that assumption is that the way the eyepieces are designed in terms of the feel and what I can see on the inside without taking it apart, they look a little bit familiar to me. Which is a good thing because I think it's one of the better eyepiece designs in binoculars I've seen in a little while. There are several outstanding exemplary features of this binocular, and one of them, well, coming back to the eyepieces, is a very, very wide apparent field of view. It's over 70 degrees, which is very good. And it gives this 12 power binocular a field of view as wide as many 10 power ones. Generally, the way Zeiss marketing seems to be working out, they are trying to represent this binocular as a 12 by 50 millimeter design that is basically the size and weight of a 42 millimeter. And while normally I take all the different marketing claims with a bucket or two of salt, in this case, I think they're spot on. It is strangely compact, unusually light, and optically, it is absolutely excellent. One of the ways to characterize the performance of the binocular is to just use it and see how quickly you accumulate eye fatigue. And I've been able to use these for a very long time with minimal eye strain. That is a big deal. Field of view is wide and very well corrected, but not overly corrected, right? So there are some binoculars out there with ultra flat field of view. They're so flat. It's technically excellent. It gives me a splitting headache in about 5 minutes because it looks unnatural. The view through the new SFL 12 by 50, it is natural, it is forgiving, colors are accurate, resolution is very good, contrast rendering is very good. I've looked at these in a broad range of lighting conditions from bright day, I'm here in Colorado right now, like this, to low light, to looking in the mountains, looking at city lights at night, standing on a mountain over Albuquerque. uh, to looking at resolution charts, optically it's really excellent. Is the Victory FL better? Maybe I didn't have one to compare, but I will say this. This is good enough where it never left me itching or wanting for more performance. It is optically quite impressive, and especially impressive given how compact this thing is. There are a couple of other interesting things the Zeiss is doing here that are worth pointing out. So the eye cups, of course, have several different settings, and they don't collapse under pressure. So I'm able to jam these into my eyebrows, and nothing collapses. The eye adjustment is in the right barrel. There are no reticles, no laser edge finders. These are the classic 12 power binoculars, really aimed primarily at Western hunting application. Zeiss ships it with a tripod adapter. It's a tripod adapter they've been using for quite a long time. There is a spigot that goes on the front of the bridge. Normally it's covered by a plug. That plug was kind of interesting to remove. Whoever put it on really put it on tight. My plan, if I were using these binoculars, to remove that plug, put in the tripod adapter, and never remove it. This goes onto a tripod. Now, the one thing I wish they would do differently, you need to get an adapter plate, right? I wish they would make the foot fit natively in the arc profile, because that's really the dominant way of doing this. One of the things that Zeiss did with this one that's sort of subtle but makes a very big difference is the position of the focusing knob. In most binoculars, the focusing knob is further back, kind of behind the bridge, right behind the eyepieces here. And what it does, especially with high power binoculars, makes you hold your hands fairly close to the eyepieces. And we all have some amount of hand tremor. And if you're holding your hands fairly close to your eyes, any hand tremor gets amplified because what your eye sees is this angular shift, right? So holding the binoculars further forward gives you an advantage in terms of stability, but you still need to reach focus. And what I do with normal binoculars, I hold one hand further out and one hand closer here to adjust the focusing knob. What Zeiss did here, they moved the focusing knob further forward. So now I can keep my hands fairly far forward, and it is an objectively a more stable way for me to handhold it. 12 hours still a lot to handhold. If you're going to do prolonged observation, use a tripod. But if I want to take a quick look for a couple of minutes, this is easily one of the most stable 12-hour binoculars, which is somewhat surprising given how light it is. With binoculars, it's kind of interesting in that if it is heavier, it is easier to hold steadily, but you get tired faster. You also notice it if you're hiking uphill. This is aimed squarely at Western hunters. I live out west, I hunt elk and mule deer, and I know for a fact that when you're hiking uphill with a pack and a rifle, the last thing you want to do is carry other heavy stuff. Sometimes you don't have a choice, sometimes you do. For hunting out west, mule deer, elk, pronghorn, 12 hours is a very nice combination. For sheep hunters, this should be a really interesting choice because again, it's fairly lightweight. Sheep live in horrible places that are very hard to get to. Every ounce matters, and that's where this binocular is going to shine. In terms of general handling, nice rubber coating, nothing slips. It's fairly easy to hold. I generally don't like binoculars that have a lot of finger grooves and all sort of stuff. I like nice rubber armor, so it doesn't slip is good enough. I did not try to um, brown it in the water, etc. It's been with me in the rain. Nothing leaked. That's perfectly fine. More importantly, it's been bouncing around in the trunk of my car, being subjected to all sorts of stress, and the collimation between the two barrels did not change. It's as easy to use and as forgiving as the day when I received it. Overall, it is a nicely impressive design. Would I like to do anything else with it? Honestly, I hunt, but I also shoot in arrow hunter competitions. And for that, the one piece of feedback I gave to Zeiss is that if they manage to make this with an integrated laser rangefinder and maybe a reticle and another barrel, they would pretty much own the RL PRS competitions. Because I just that's why I'm kind of dirty. I apologize. I just shot an RL Hunter match here in Colorado, not about a couple of miles from where I'm recording this. And if there wasn't an embargo on showing this to people, I probably would have tried to use it in a match. It would slow me down a little bit because it doesn't have a laser rangefinder. But in terms of field of view and image quality and a little bit of extra magnification, it is very appealing. Overall, it's done nicely. The focusing knob is quite fast. I'm not convinced how I feel about that, but that's also very personal. Most binoculars I use, the focusing knob is slightly slower than this. On the other hand, and all the time I've spent using this binocular, it has never given me any semblance of an issue. It works well, but there's no hysteresis that I can see, and the focusing knob is very, very nicely adjusted. The resistance is somewhat light, but very, very well calibrated. So making a small adjustment is very easy. Beyond that, so the exit pupils, here's an image, are nice and light. And the exemplary thing here is really the combination of performance and lightweight. I did a little bit of a market overview trying to find some sort of a 12-hour binocular that would be as light as this with this field of view and this performance, and I found nothing. There is no shortage of pretty nice 12-hour binoculars on the market, but I went and looked, and I don't think there's anything out there that is 12-hour, 50mm objective at this size and weight, and with minimal, if any, compromises in performance. Low light performance is very good. Chromatic aberration is extremely well controlled. If you find a super high contrast edge and get it to the edge of the field of view, if you know what you're looking for, you'll find a little bit of the radial CA. But in the center, there is nothing. And even on the edges, you need to know what you're looking for to find it. It's extremely well controlled. Most important, and I can't overstate this enough, this view is comfortable and relaxing. One of the things that happens with binoculars is that there are some mild distortions and other things in there you don't necessarily perceive. But then after you use it for a few minutes, you end up with a splitting headache. I got none of that out of the new SFL. I was able to use it for hours and walk out of it with minimal eye fatigue. That is a weirdly accurate aggregate measure of the performance of the binocular. I didn't get tired, and I never found myself wanting for more performance. I suspect it will do well with Western hunters. It should. I live out in New Mexico, so for hunting elk, mule deer, pronghorn, 12 power is a very nice combination. If you're gonna glass for any length of time, tripod is your friend, as you can see here. But because of the new focusing knob location, I think even handheld, if you need to take a quick look for a couple of minutes, this is one of the more hand-holdable 12 power binoculars on the market. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, darklordofoptics.com. If there's anything I missed, please hit me up. I'll be using this one for a little while. I'll see if I can use it in a match. It's a different workflow, but I can do it with a binocular like this and a weapon-mounted laser edge finder. It should work well, but I'll be doing some more practice with it. Thank you all. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.